It's easy to forget that each of us play an important role in this place we call home. Together, we're strong. Without each other, vulnerable. Some of us more than others. This is the story of our most vulnerable neighbors and friends, of children and adults often isolated, lost in some way, who ultimately prove that the most vulnerable among us can be some of the most vital and integral to this place we call home, and how things will never be the same. Imagine being a child again, this time with severe developmental disabilities, unwanted, and physically abused by the very people whom you depend upon for everything in life, your own parents. Amy doesn't need to imagine. Parents unable to cope with her disabilities locked her in a closet for hours on end, didn't feed her. And when they caught her sneaking food, including raw meat, just to survive, chained her to a bed. For 30 years, she lived this way. When protective services stepped in, they found a weak, 80-pound woman, broken ribs from multiple beatings over many years, and an instinct to defend herself from other people because she had never known any who didn't want to hurt her. But Cardinal Services developed a customized therapeutic program to reward Amy every time she showed trust and compassion. Over time, this once malnourished, beaten, and traumatized young woman discovered that when she was kind to others, they were kind to her. Was she worth it? Ask the people who depend upon Amy to feed their families. The little girl who grew up starving and beaten now volunteers to help feed other people at the First United Methodist Church Community Kitchen. After everything she's been through, Amy has become one of the most generous people in our town. Yes, thanks to Cardinal Services, thanks to Amy, things will never be the same. But what if your challenge is less obvious, less urgent than Amy's? What then? If you met Ryan today, you'd never know that he grew up with a developmental disability that left him unable to communicate the way the rest of us do. Ryan couldn't speak. Instead, he used pantomime to communicate. It was heartbreaking to see. When we find kids with these kinds of developmental disabilities before they reach the age of 3, we can make a big difference in their lives. After 3, it's a lot harder. One day when Ryan burned his stomach badly on the kitchen stove and could barely tell his parents what was wrong, they realized this disability might someday threaten his life. So they enrolled him in a special Cardinal Services speech program. The therapy? It worked. Cardinal Services gave Ryan something he'd never had before, something the rest of us take for granted, the ability to speak. Today, he lives with friends, enjoys everyday life, and works at Owen's Supermarket, where his manager points to Ryan's enthusiasm as a way to inspire other employees. The little boy who couldn't tell mom and dad how he burned his stomach has become a role model for the rest of us. And nothing will ever be the same again. Ryan's story, like Amy's, may be an obvious example of what we do at Cardinal to help make this a strong community. But there are other vulnerable citizens among us who also have incredible potential to contribute. They just need a head start. At 19, Kim fell in love and married Steve, who had 2 beautiful children from a previous marriage. Together, they had 2 more children. But when the biological mother from Steve's first marriage, who suffered from drug addictions, dropped in and out of the happy family's lives, It was upsetting and disruptive. Ashley started having trouble learning in school. Aaron, the only boy, suffered such severe anxiety that he couldn't even look at anyone who spoke to him. The loving couple was doing all that they could, but sadly, it wasn't enough. That's where Cardinal Services' Head Start program comes in, a program that helps low-income families prepare their children for school and for life. Head Start connected Ashley with a psychologist who addressed the issues that were distracting her in the classroom. Aaron received one-on-one attention in daycare, where he gained self-confidence. And by providing a safe, nurturing environment for their children during the day, Kim was able to go back to work and help support the family financially. You see, when Head Start helps our children, it's helping the whole family, the whole community. Today, all 4 children are model students, future leaders. And Kim? Well, she's found a home right here at Cardinal Services, helping to give other families a head start as a teacher for the Head Start program itself. And nothing will ever be the same again. Today, as you step outside, look around. The guy down the street plays a role in your life. You play a role in his. Without Amy, without Ryan, without Kim and Steve's beautiful family, this place we call home wouldn't be the same. Together, we're strong. And at Cardinal Services, it's something that we're always working hard for. The right that each of us has to contribute, to enjoy, to love, and to live together.